Good morning, good afternoon, and good night to you, Mr.
And good evening, too. Hey, Ken, long time no see.
Been a while, and last time we talked was the morning of this debate. There was some debate that was going to happen that night, and you and I previewed it. Was there a debate? I don't remember. I don't think one happened. I'm thinking when
There,
did
the line from the debate that will live in infamy for me is after Biden said whatever dribble he said, Trump said, I don't think he knows what he just said, and I don't know either. That summed up the whole night, didn't it?
I've always been of the opinion that most debates are inconsequential after the Nixon Kennedy debate, which of course killed Richard Nixon because of his black shadow. I was stunned and amazed that 10 minutes could destroy a political campaign. And it absolutely, I mean, when he walked on the stage, literally walked on the stage, I texted Amy and I said, it's over.
He waved to a non-existing crowd. Remember, the Biden people, no crowd, no handlers, no nothing, just the two candidates and the two moderators, Jake Tapper and Dana Bash from CNN. That was just the Biden, I guess, was waving to them. I don't know, or the technicians behind the scenes.
There's no, and you read my my Facebook postings.
I did.
My first comment is any Democrat who says that wasn't that bad. Really? I mean,
yeah, it was horrible. It was horrible.
And not only Biden being terrible, but Donald Trump played it. I mean, Donald Trump was not Donald Trump. I mean, look, don't get me wrong, he lied at least 100 times, but he lies very convincing. But that's not the point. He didn't get personal. I mean, he could have, instead of saying, I don't know what you just said, I don't think you do either, he could have been much nastier than that, except the golf thing, which was absurd. But nobody was watching at that point. I mean, it was like over.
No, and of course he made it better a couple of days ago by throwing out the $1 million challenge to Biden. That was just tremendous.
You understand that Donald Trump has posted 2 golf scores in the last 8 years. I mean, the only golfer who lies more than Donald Trump is Bill Clinton. I want you to
Bill Clinton. All right. So the performance was terrible. It was Trump. I think Trump was actually a little bit amazed at how bad he was. So he was bad. So
I think he felt sorry for him. I think Donald Trump actually felt sorry for Joe Biden.
And that had to be part of the strategy for Trump and his people going in. Look, you can't go too hard on this doddering old man. It's going to look like elder abuse. We see the bumper stickers all the time. This would have been elder abuse, and he actually did show great restraint, which he never does. So Biden does what he does.
Well, before I forget, Donald Trump has literally been silent while the Democrats have been, eating their own,
when your opponent is digging a hole, shut up and let him dig.
But when has Donald Trump ever done that? That's the point.
Know.
I don't mean to whisper. I don't mean to whisper like Joe Biden did.
Don't. Anyway. All right. So a long Facebook post several days ago after the debate, throwing your guy under the bus?
No, not at all. What I said was that Joe Biden has that. If you start with the premise that Joe Biden lost the election the night of the debate, which I absolutely believe, and despite a better performance last night, not enough. Better is not enough. And
the bar's awful low.
As one analyst said, it's one thing to have a bad night. It's another thing to have dementia. You can't cure that. And when George Clooney comes out with his op-ed piece, after seeing him in person at this fundraiser, and people have been criticizing George Clooney, and I said, look, George Clooney saw what he saw, and he said what I said. I love Joe Biden. He's not the same Joe Biden, and you can't support somebody just because I'm sorry.
Hey, Ken's busy. Leave him alone.
Sorry.
Anybody important?
No, I didn't look. I just got to put the do not disturb on. Sorry about that. you can't just support somebody because you loved who he used to be or what you think he did good or bad. I mean, listen, you, no, 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 no. So if you start with the premise that he lost the election that night, which I do, then all this other discussion, oh, it's too late. Who will we get to replace him? Nobody else is better. We'll lose momentum. What are we going to do with the money we put? Is irrelevant. Because if you believe he's going to lose, you lose nothing by doing something else, right?
Okay, so there's a couple of ways we can go here. Clooney gave up on him. Clearly, there are very reliable reports that the man who gave Joe Biden the vice presidency, Barack Obama, behind the scenes, has also gone along with this. Reportedly, he kind of winked and nodded to Clooney, and so there's that. There's other Democrats who have called for Biden to step aside. So let's fast forward to last night and an extraordinary night. We had an 81-year-old sitting president who literally had the forum last night to salvage his run to be reelected.
He's not capable of it. He's cognitively impaired. He's
so
cognitively impaired.
You and I were texting last night, and you texted me, if memory serves me correctly, correctly, and you will. He'll be gone in 7 days, I believe was your text.
7 to 10 days.
No, you said 7.
Did I say 7?
Yes.
He's going to be gone. It gets complicated because if he leaves, he's going to want Kamala to take his place. I'm not sure he can pick the nominee. I mean, who gives him the authority to do that? You can't, because you got the nomination, say, okay, I've decided to nominate my grandmother to be president. Okay. I think Kamala Harris would be better than Donald Trump. I mean, once again, if you assume that Joe Biden's going to lose, anybody's going to be better. Why not Kamala Harris? So my proposal, what I think he should do is not get out of the race, but open the convention for your delegates. Joe, you want to get out there and say, okay, I'm here. If you guys don't want me, vote me out. I'll accept it. It's a huge risk he's taking because they'll do that. They'll vote him out, I think. Okay. You don't have to get out of the race. Now, if he gets out of the race, that's better, frankly. If he says, yeah, go ahead.
I'll use one of your favorite words, magnanimous. So the most magnanimous thing he could do would be to step aside. The second most magnanimous thing he could do would be to go to the convention, open up the delegates. You guys are free to go where you want to go. You make the call. If you call my name, if nominated, I will serve. If you don't, you go in a different direction. What direction? If he opened the convention, do you think they'd go Kamala? I can't see it.
Oh, if it was a completely open convention, no.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's what will happen. I think that what will happen is Biden will say, I will get out of the race if Kamala's the nominee. Now, I don't know why he would do that, but he's treated her terribly and as unpopular as she was, she's more popular because of him, right? I mean, they have absolutely treated her horrendously during, I mean, he said good things about her last night, but that has not been the story, right?
Well, she doesn't help herself by being a complete dummy either.
Oh, she's very smart.
She's a dummy. She's a dummy.
But so he could say, listen, I'm willing to get out of the race if Kamala's that's the deal. That's the deal. And if you don't agree with that, if everybody doesn't come together and support that, I'm staying in. Also, how about saying, look, I'll be vice president, she can be president. Now, I don't think he would do that because that is a huge step down.
Jesus.
Why not? Why not? So I can finish my agenda as co-president.
Oh, Jesus.
I don't think that's the best idea.
It's funny. For several years, I have been saying if Joe Biden wasn't the president of the United States, he'd be in an assisted living facility, and I think we saw that in the debate. So last night he tries to salvage things, and I have to say, as someone who has sat here and known what's been going on, despite the attempt by the media to pull the wool over everybody's eyes and go along for the ride, I actually thought, for him, again, low bar, he wasn't bad, but still, so many gaps. He introduces yesterday, earlier in the day, Zelensky as Putin. He introduces Kamala last night as Vice President Trump. Anyway, I think he said anyway 32 times. Clearly, we all know there was evidence of the dementia, perhaps even Parkinson's. But you know what? Last night we sat there after an extraordinary week with all of these reports, doctors going in and out of the White House for months. The guy who made Obama his vice president, behind his back, apparently pulling strings. The media didn't ask about any of that last night. They didn't even mention Clooney's name, and they were. I know he was at a NATO conference, but I don't know about you, but I don't give a rat's ass about where we are with NATO and whether Macron likes Biden or not.
The only questions was, are you getting out of the race? And they asked it 5 times, 10 times. I thought the last series of questions, of course, the delegates, when he said, sure, they're free to vote anywhere they want. Hello? Grab that moment. I want to say one thing about Obama. Don't forget that Obama talked Joe Biden into not running against Hillary in 2016. And don't think that Joe Biden was happy about that. So I'm not sure Obama has influence over Joe Biden. And I'm not sure, I could see him saying, Joe, you got to get out of the race. He said, well, you told me that in 2016. How did that turn out? I mean, right? I mean, because he thinks if he had run against Donald Trump, he would have beaten him. I'm not sure that's true, but he thinks that. He's out of the race. He's out of he's out of, there's no way. I mean, a minute after that press conference, Democratic representative issued his press release, which is ready to go, saying, I love Joe Biden, he's got to go. You're not going to hear, I mean, you have a few people saying it's unfair, you're a traitor, blah, 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 blah. He has no support. He's not going to raise money. Money's going to evaporate.
So yeah, I'm sure that's already happening. So obviously, I want Biden to stay in the race. But let's play hypotheticals here. He's out. Ken Altshuler has been named the kingmaker or the queenmaker of the world and gets to choose the Democratic nominee. Who would he choose?
Gavin Newsom would be the choice.
Yeah, I knew.
But let me tell you why. No, only for one reason. He looks great.
Oh man, he makes Bill Clinton look unslick.
Yeah.
That guy's as slimy as any reptile you're ever going to see.
Doesn't he look presidential?
Jesus,
he does. Okay, and look, so the point is, Gavin, you're not a woman for president is going to be a tough sell. I mean, I don't think America's ready to do.
Now's not the time with this.
Right. I mean, I think Whitmer from Michigan would be great, but I don't
another
think
nitwit.
A woman. So I would say Newsom Whitmer ticket would be great. But I don't think I think at this point you don't get away. You don't get rid of. I don't think
talk about getting hit with a crazy stick. Newsom and oh my God.
I don't think you could get rid of Kamala. I don't think she'll go quietly into that good night. You know.
And why should she? I wouldn't.
Well, because she's not the. Hey, by the way, Hillary would be the first person or best person to run, in my opinion. Don't get
All right, so as Trump sits back and watches them dig the hole deeper, what does he need? Is that what he just needs to do to not fuck this up and win? Is this his to lose now?
Yeah, absolutely. Because if you think the Democrats are going to come together and coalesce at the convention without infighting, that's even when the Democrats were united, they were divided. Okay, I mean, think about 1968. I wouldn't say it was particularly united, but it was certainly they were in power. And you know, look at what happened with that convention. That was Vietnam and everything. I understand that.
Right.
So an open convention is a nightmare. I mean, don't get me wrong. This is not going to be pretty, but it's necessary. And I think that to say it's too late is nonsense, because if you assume the election's over, if Biden runs, you have nothing to lose. You can nominate somebody new the day before and take a flyer on it. So I think what'll happen is Biden will get out, but Kamala will have to be the nominee. And I think that's what's going to happen. And so I think Kamala's better than Biden, okay? Because look, she's a woman of color. He's been the black vote has been eroded from Joe Biden,
Black people don't like Kamala. She's not black.
but she's more black than Donald Trump. And she's more female than Donald Trump
If
is.
you ain't voting for me, you ain't black. All right.
Mike, who is you know what? I would also say this. I would grab Kissinger from Illinois as a vice presidential candidate, or I think Cheney's a little far out there. But you know, if you get a Republican or an anti-Trump independent or moderate Republican, Susan Collins, for example, I'm saying if you put them on the ticket, you know, I think you'll get. Look, who are you trying to get? The Democrat, the people going to vote against Trump are going to vote against Trump. People are going to vote for him are going to vote for him. The people who are independent, the Nikki Haley supporters, that's your target. Nikki Haley, I would pay Nikki Haley millions of dollars to run as a vice president candidate.
Would she, if you're Trump, would you pick her? Would that help you win?
It would be very smart of him to do.
Yeah, I think it's to me, I think she's in it, and I think Tulsi Gabbard is in it, and I think she'd be very effective.
It's gonna be it's gonna be the guy from North Carolina, from North Dakota. I keep forgetting his name.
Burgum?
Yeah, Burgum.
Oh, come on.
Burgum is perfect.
Can't do that.
Burgum is perfect for him.
No, I hope he does something like that.
Nikki Haley is not loyal. He values loyalty over anything else.
Look at Biden and Kamala in the primary. She had her claws out and went after him.
I know,
big time. These guys, old man George H.W. Bush and Reagan in '80. You know, voodoo economics, all that shit. They bury this stuff.
I don't see him picking Nikki Haley. I just
all right. So if Kamala,
but if Gavin Newsom was the Democratic candidate and he picked and Nikki Haley would run with him, I'd do that in a minute.
If Kamala goes to the big chair, who's her vice president?
Well, that's a tougher decision. I think Gavin Newsom would be a likely candidate. She can't pick a woman. You can't have two women on the ticket, right?
Oh God. You'd have to build more bathrooms in the White House, for Christ's sake.
Jeffries maybe would not be a bad vice presidential candidate. You know, I mean,
what an extraordinary time. What a crazy, dumb, stupid, ridiculous time to be alive. I mean, that press conference last night was amazing.
And it really is impossible to predict as we sit here now what's going to happen tomorrow. Anything could happen. Anything could happen, right? I mean, remember, Trump's got to pick his vice presidential candidate at this convention, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Biden's not going anywhere until that happens, right?
Right.
So that may sway his decision too.
Let me compliment you and the lovely Linda on another absolutely outstanding 4th of July bash at the Altshuler Doyle compound up there on the hill in Freeport. I had a fantastic time.
Stellar weather too, man. The weather was just
it was a great day. Great, nice cold beer.
Are you going to mention the American flag I was flying out front?
You wore the American flag, and I actually was going to wear this shirt, but I put it on that morning, and I had like a big ketchup stain on it, so I had another color, so I put it on.
And since you mentioned beer, we should give Dan Kleben for the main beer company credit for supplying us with that beer. So
it was very good, and you had wonderful lobsters, and it was a great day. I enjoyed, talking to Democrats, the couple of Republicans who were there besides myself.
Phil Harriman.
I did see Phil was there.
Scott Gleason.
Scott, that was Scott, and Captain Scott Gleason is going to take me on the ferry out to Monhegan Island. So
there you go. So there were some. We do, and I have a big umbrella.
A tip of the hat to my new friend Bob Profeno.
Yeah, that was a great story.
Who I met on the way home by accident because my motorcycle ran out of gas.
How come your fuel gauge just stopped?
Apparently, my gas gauge, when it's on a quarter, that means it's empty. Because it said, I got on my bike at your house. I got a quarter. on a motorcycle, that's 50 miles. I'm just driving back to Lisbon. So I get on and I get in front of Bob Profeno's house and she dies right there. He comes out of his house, says to me, "What happened?" I said, "I think I'm out of gas." He says, "Push her up to the garage." I've got a gas pump in the he's got a legit gas pump
That's
in his
incredible.
garage.
That's
He
incredible.
puts a gallon of gas in. There I go. So thanks to Bob.
That was a great
I
story
love
at Facebook. That was a great Facebook story.
I love a happy ending, man.
That's great. I know you do. Listen, let's talk next week. A lot can happen. This is at this point. I mean, we got the convention coming up for the Republicans. A lot's going to be happening. So every week the story will change. And I hate to make predictions because it's anybody's to win and anybody's to lose. So who knows what's going to happen? So it's going to be those days. So
it's going to be great. Last night on Facebook, several people, I was commenting all night long on what I saw on Facebook, and several people said, "Geez, I wish you and Ken were on the air tomorrow morning." Well, here we are. We're going to be on the air every week right through the election. So here we are.
Thank you, my friend. Have a great day.
All right, buddy.
We'll talk to you next week.
Peace.